Once again, I'm very happy to say that I have another young Indian with us, Voice of the Young segment. Hello, everyone. Good to be back. Right now, we have with us Saptorshi Gupta. Let's listen to him. Over to you, Saptorshi.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Mathur, for inviting me. So I am a PhD student at the University of Auckland. So I'm pursuing my PhD in population health. I'm with the section of biostatistics and epidemiology. And my research basically currently focuses on understanding if scabies, which is a dermatological condition, is a major risk factor for rheumatic heart diseases among the Pacifica children, mainly less than 5 years. Quite an exciting project. I just joined like 2 months back. And prior to joining here, I was working with an Indian think tank, the Indian Council of Research on International Economic Relations, where I was working with the digital economy team. So we're trying to understand the accessibility of internet usage and broadband in India. And I was also interested in one of the projects which was basically understanding what the impacts of social media were on youngsters and all, their mental health hazards of social media nowadays, and how it's impacting the young adults and adolescents in our country. So basically, what I do is try to work in areas associating to development economics and public health, and some cross sections among them. I've worked on some really interesting projects. I can like go on for a long time, but what I want to do in this talk is to try to understand how I got into some graduate schools, and what my trajectory was, because for the last few days I've received quite a few requests from my peers and my juniors on and the main question was, how did you get in, and what the process is, and like we are not clear about it. I think would be a good opportunity to focus on that. So a little bit about myself. My background is I did my bachelor's in economics from St. Xavier's College, Kolkata. And while I really enjoyed the subject, I found that it was some areas of economics were a bit too abstract for me. Like basically, I was having some trouble to visualize the things. What I found really interesting was development economics, which I could totally relate to real life, and I could directly understand what's going on. And it's basically easier to see what is happening in day-to-day life when you are um, directly being taught some things from real life examples, right? So how I was really influenced by a book by Debraj Roy on development economics. We had three segments of development economics during our undergrad course, and there I came to know about demography and population studies. And that's how when I was trying to get into a master's program, although I applied to a few economics courses like in DSC, ISI, I also applied to IIPS, the International Institute for Population Sciences, which offered a unique course in biostatistics and demography. And although I was not totally sure what biostatistics meant at that time, I was more attracted towards the demography section, and that's why I applied for a master seat, and luckily I got it. And only after I got into IIPS was I exposed to these areas on public health, biostatistics, epidemiology, global health, and stuff like that. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. Like, not only does it draw on some aspects of economics, but this was a field that I could totally relate to. And at that time, this was during the height of COVID-19. So 2020, I got into my master's program, and this was the time when the COVID-19 struck. And it was all pandemic, epidemiology, infectious diseases at that time. And as like and everything that I was taught during that time, although online, I could relate directly to what was happening around. So, and it was at that time that I realized that this seems all very interesting, and there's so much more to work on. And although there are fantastic researchers these days who are doing a lot of modeling and stuff regarding that, but India is like in a critical juncture, like it's going an epidemiological transition. It has a double burden of diseases, the communicable and the non-communicable diseases. And so there's so much to work on. And so what I started doing was I started reading a lot of papers. I started, and although we were on doing an online course, I started talking to professors. I started collaborating with my batchmates, and that's how I started writing papers for the first time, remotely, in association with professors and my peers. So what helped me was, I was a national level chess player, and so I had heard, and through a lot of papers I've seen that there were a lot of studies which pointed out that chess was a deterministic factor in improving mental health. And there were studies done in Bangladesh and in some European countries which stated that young people who were exposed to chess were better in risk taking, were better in cognitive abilities and stuff like that. So I was like, hey, let's work on something really interesting, which was if chess players had a better mental condition, like a mental health state during COVID-19 or not. So that was how I, launched my first independent research project with one of my batchmates, and I showed the paper to my professors, and they really encouraged me to, go out and get it published. So, and that is how I started getting. I got talking with my professors, and I like expressed my wish to pursue a PhD, preferably in a top doctoral school abroad. And professors at IPS, they were so helpful. So at this time, I was at the end of my second semester at IPS, and I found out that I was in the top spot with regards to marks. And then I thought that it would be good to finish in the top of the class. That would increase my chances of getting a PhD abroad. So this was the time, I understood, and I was going through all the universities and figuring out how to apply and what the criteria was. I understood that this is a very holistic process. So unlike our like the universities back home, which only relied on maybe a test or an interview to admit students, doctoral programs abroad would focus on like a list of factors ranging from your grades to your extracurricular abilities to your research endeavors, and most importantly your passion for the work. So that is how I started working on different areas. I did a very nice internship with the Population Council of India, worked on a very nice project over there as well. And then I started focusing on my academics to pull my grades up, and so that the entire application set looks good. um, yeah, needless to say, the professors were always there to write me excellent letters of recommendation. And so by the end of my journey at IPS, I was actually on the top of my class, which kind of helped me with my application. And I managed to secure a spot at one of the good public health programs in an American university. What went wrong was that I couldn't get a funding. Now, a lot of students would ask me as to how I'm managing my finances over here. So I'm a fully funded student at the University of Auckland. I get a grant from the government to pursue research, and also I'm a teaching assistant at the section of epidemiology. So what's very important for us to understand is that most of us would come from families that would not be able to sustain a 3 to 4 year or 5 year doctoral journey. It's not really possible to or feasible to fund it all alone. So a scholarship comes very handy. So you need to get your tuition fees paid by a scholarship package. You need to get some stipend so as to manage your groceries and rent and stuff like that. So when we talk about applying abroad, there are basically two factors. One is to get into the program actually, which is the studentship, and the second is to get a scholarship which would help you sustain your studies. So uh, I could crack the studentship in my first attempt, but I couldn't get the scholarship. And I was told after a month of receiving the offer letter that, hey, we cannot fund you this time. What you can do is defer your application and apply for a scholarship for the next time, and let's see where it goes. So I did that. And in the meantime, it's very important for people applying for universities who have just graduated. And I tell a lot of my peers and my juniors to not just sit idly for a year and focus on application, but to work on some real life project, maybe through an organization or through a research assistantship or whatever, because that adds a lot of research experience to your CV, and which would help the selection panelists to understand that this guy is actually interested in research as well and has some experience. So I got into a career. I started working on real life projects. I started doing field work. I started working on data analysis, publishing papers, reports, attending conferences, seminars, and all of that I could talk about in my interview.
Right.
So yeah, so that is like really important to show that you are continuously in a process of research and academia, and at the same time you are seeking out further opportunities through a PhD studentship. And why do you want a studentship is also very important, which you need to write in your SOP, as to you need to point out how a PhD studentship would help you in furthering your research cause, and help you enhance your research abilities, and help you work even better in the field that you're working in. So so this year was really hectic for me. The last year when I was working, at the same time I was doing applications. And when we start doing applications, it's very very important to have a short list of universities and not just go randomly after any university. Have a short list of university and have a short list of professors. So whenever I used to have a short list of universities, what I used to do was go to their public health page, see what the professors were working in, and send them cold emails to say that, hey, I've read your papers, I'm interested in your work, would you be able to accept me as a PhD student? And also mention them that I'm in a need of a financial package, and if you have a grant through which you can support me for the next 3 to 4 years. So I remember working from 9 to 5 in office, come back, attend an informal meeting with a supervisor, which sometimes could be at even 2 a.m. at night because of the time difference. But yeah, this is basically the part and the parcel of the entire process. And uh, this is how you get talking. You curate a research proposal or a statement of interest, send it to your prospective supervisor, get them checked and or approved. Some would agree to it, some wouldn't. That's fine. And put forward an application. Now comes the part of waiting. When you complete your application process in December, and till February you wait to hear about the interview decisions. When the interview decisions come in, you need to appear in front of a panel for a group interview. So at this time, it's really beneficial if you have already decided a supervisor and they have agreed to mentor you. So in that interview, you can state that, I have already talked to Dr. XYZ, and, it's with this support that I'm applying for this university, and all. And yeah, that makes the process much easier. So I had followed this meticulously, this process, and my dad was very supportive throughout. He would, help me in shortlisting universities, checking my SOPs, stuff like that. Also, get some peers to help you with that. Like my colleagues at a career would also check my SOP, point out mistakes, and help me improve it. So this is how basically I got into four doctoral programs, four graduate programs, and mm, got a few more interview offers, which I couldn't convert, sadly. But yeah, that was the entire journey and the process in brief.
Okay, so how is it to live in New Zealand? Tell us about that.
Yes, it's a culture shock, I would say, because when you come from India, firstly you're exposed to a very less population. So New Zealand consists of two islands, the North Island and the South Island, and the total population is 50 lakhs. So, and especially during the Christmas time, the city becomes a ghost town. Because I live in Auckland, although I live in the central business district of Auckland, uh, the entire town is empty. Uh, what I also found out was a work-life balance thing. So these people would very firmly believe that you work while you work and you play while you play. So the entire office gets out by 5, which is another culture shock, but it's good in one way. And the research experience is really collaborative, and it's very supportive. So I have 3 supervisors right now, and but I've found out that they are really helpful, and you can approach them at any time. And yeah, the learning experience have been phenomenal. Only although it's only been 2 months, but yeah, still I'm enjoying it a lot.
There are more sheep in New Zealand than people.
Exactly. For one people, there are 9 sheeps.
So yeah, they probably. How's the food?
Bland with respect to India, but manageable. I would cook mostly at home.
Okay, all right. Okay. Anything else you want to tell us?
Yeah, well, what I would like to add in this, and a suggestion for my juniors would be to not get frustrated during the process. It's applying for a PhD, if at all you want to do it abroad, is a long and tedious process. So you need to keep going at it. Increase your portfolio. So do not just rely on 1 or 2 universities, and apply to as many universities as possible, but with a decent strategy. So do not just throw your applications, but have a talk with the seniors, have a talk with the professors, and apply. And yeah, the most important thing is PhD is not another degree. So only go for a PhD if you are really really interested in research and you really want to work towards a cause. So this is very important. If you do not enjoy research, please do not go for a PhD.
Right. I agree with that. Okay. What about your own future? What do you think?
Yes, so that's a good question. Currently, I'm enjoying research a lot. So probably I would like to stay in academia. What I'm thinking currently is about a postdoc, and I would prefer to move back to India. I have cleared the NET exam, so I'm eligible for an assistant professorship position. So after I move back to India, I would preferably, like to have a shot at, prospective professorship opportunities. And yeah, if I get that, that would be amazing because I love teaching.
Okay. All right. Anything else you want to add here?
No.
No. All right.
That
Okay,
was it.
good.
Yeah.
Let's say goodbye now, and maybe we'll catch up with you in 1 year to see where you
Sure.
are and how things are going. Let's say bye to the viewers. I'll be back with another young person or an expert soon. Bye till then. Okay. Bye, everybody.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. Okay. Bye.